Okay, good morning. Everybody has been assigned to their workshops, so we are ready to start. If you guys have any questions, feel free to stick those in the chat and we can get those answered.
All right. Hi, guys. How are you all? Good? Sweet. Okay, well, I'm Kylie Nicholson. I know my Zoom thing says Kylie Space. I got married. Haven't had a chance to change that yet, but I am the 4-H STEM and Ag Literacy Specialist, and I am kind of housed in the Northeast District. And today we are going to be talking about a little bit of physics. We're going to talk about rockets, and we're actually going to make a slingshot rocket. So I actually have a little video to show you about NASA's plan to go to Mars and all the rockets and all the tweaks that they're making to make their rockets go farther than from the moon, from Earth. They actually want to go to Mars. And so I am going to share my screen and show you a super cool video, and then we will get started making our rockets. So if this will let me share, mouse, present.
68 and 1970.
Can you guys hear good?
Yes.
Okay, sweet.
America launched 9 human missions to the moon, 6 of which successfully touched down, allowing 12 men to walk on the lunar surface. NASA's next chapter of lunar exploration, called Artemis, has the task of not just going to the moon to create a long-term human presence on and around it, but also to prepare for ever more complex human missions to Mars. In short, everything we must be able to do here, we must first do here. So, what will an Artemis mission look like? Everything is designed and tested with our most important element in mind, the astronauts. This is their deep space, human-rated spacecraft called Orion, built in 3 parts. The crew module, where up to 4 astronauts will live and work throughout the flight. The service module, with life support systems for the crew and its own engine for fuel reserves. And a launch abort system, with engines capable of pulling the crew module to safety during launch should anything go wrong. To accomplish the task of launching our crew and heavy payloads, NASA is building the Space Launch System, comprising of a cargo hold, an exploration upper stage, a massive core stage, and 2 extended solid rocket boosters. Altogether, this is the world's most powerful rocket, and it exceeds the legendary Saturn V of the Apollo era in numerous ways. Sitting on the launch pad, the entire rocket, fully fueled, weighs just over 6 million pounds, 5.2 million of which is just the fuel. Once ignited, there is no stopping what comes next. All 4 RS-25 engines and the 2 solid rocket boosters come to life, thundering our crew upwards. 2 minutes after ignition, the solid rocket boosters are spent and released. 8 minutes after launch, the core stage is depleted and separated. The upper stage fires briefly, placing Orion into a parking orbit around the Earth. Here, the crew reconfigure the spacecraft and check systems to confirm everything is ready for deep space travel. With a go from mission control, the crew reignite the exploration upper stage engines to leave Earth entirely. The exact timing of this maneuver is critical to reach a speed that can escape Earth's gravitational pull, but also put Orion on a course that will intersect the moon days later. Once this burn is complete, the upper stage of the SLS is jettisoned, and the crew aboard Orion coast for several days toward all that awaits them at the moon. Approaching the moon, we see the fundamental differences between Artemis and Apollo. Instead of requiring Orion to serve as an expendable lunar command module or to carry a constrained lunar lander, the Artemis missions will take advantage of a different approach, pre-staging. Everything needed for lunar missions will be positioned in advance by commercial and international partners. This includes rovers, science experiments, and human-rated systems on the surface. But it also includes a dedicated lunar station in orbit around the moon called Gateway. Here at this station, we can pre-stage a robust lunar lander and establish a strong communications relay. Designed with open standards, the Gateway can be expanded as new missions and partnerships develop. allowing multiple human missions on the moon at the same time and enabling ongoing science to be conducted even between human missions. The Gateway is also capable of adjusting its orbit to allow access to every part of the moon, something the Apollo missions could not do. But the real key in this approach is placing Gateway in a unique halo orbit to perfect the maneuvers needed for Mars missions. And with the growing list of commercial and international opportunities, Gateway is the ideal hub between Earth and all that lies beyond. Returning to our crew as they approach Gateway, the Orion must match the elliptical orbit of the station in order to successfully dock. Once on board, pre-selected crew members transfer to the lunar lander, while those assigned to Gateway remain on station. The lunar lander system itself is built for 3 unique steps: descending from the halo orbit of Gateway down to a low lunar orbit, descending from low lunar orbit to the surface, and once the lunar mission is complete, launching from the surface of the moon and ascending all the way back to the orbiting Gateway. Once back aboard the Orion spacecraft and undocked from Gateway, the crew fire their engine once to break out of the halo orbit, and once again to sling the spacecraft around the moon, placing it on a multi-day trajectory back towards Earth. As they near the end of this journey, the service module is released, and the crew module is oriented heat shield first. Entering Earth's atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour, the friction of air slows Orion considerably, while also subjecting it to temperatures of 5,000 degrees. With the Orion now at just 300 miles per hour, a series of parachutes uniquely tested and produced for this moment deploy, decelerating the craft to just 20 miles per hour for splashdown. With each successful mission, Artemis ushers in the next wave of men and women to explore our moon and prove that together we are ready to go beyond.
All right, who's ready to go to Mars or the moon? I am. I'm ready to go. That would be super cool. I think that would be the most extreme roller coaster ride ever. So we are actually going to go into our, we're making our rockets. We're going to make slingshot rockets. And yes, these are not weapons. These are learning tools, because we're going to be talking about drag, potential, and kinetic energy, and momentum and stability, all wrapped up in this super cool rocket. So does everybody have all of their supplies? Because this is what we're going to make. This is the rocket, and then we have our little rocket launcher. Then we got some tape. So the first thing I want you guys to get out of your supply stack is your popsicle stick and your rubber bands. If you've got 2 rubber bands, we're going to do it's called a hitch knot, and you basically loop one inside of the other. So you'll like take one rubber band, take another rubber band, and you'll just loop it around itself. And then you got yourself a slip knot, or a hitch knot, my bad. Just like that. So everybody got that? We good? Okay, the next thing I want you guys to do, we're gonna attach our rubber band to our popsicle stick, and you only need about a 2-inch piece of tape. And if you have clear tape, I have this lovely Scotch tape, but if, any kind of tape works. You can even use duct tape, because duct tape fixes everything, right? So you're going to take your piece of tape and you're just going to stick it on the end of your popsicle stick. You want it to be a pretty good, 1/2 inch, maybe 1 inch onto your popsicle stick, because you want to make sure it's secured.
Should we be able to see you? Because all I'm seeing is the red. How do we get to the moon?
Oh, here, let me change that. There we go. Can you see me now?
Yes.
There we go. So we got our popsicle stick and we got our tape, and it's about 1 inch, 1.5 inches, or probably 1 inch on your popsicle stick. And then we are going to take our rubber band and we're going to feed it through onto our popsicle stick like this. And then we're going to just pull that extra piece of tape over and secure that. And you can actually use one rubber band, but two actually I think make your rockets go a little farther. So it gives it a little extra more force. So that is the launcher part. So give me a thumbs up if you are good to move on. All right, I think we are pretty good to go on. So now we're going to move on to our rocket. Yes, this looks pretty small. I actually cut my straw in half, but you guys, since you have a full one, it works the same way. So you don't have to cut your straw in half. I just cut mine in half because I was making a ton of these and my straws were kind of like the awkward length. And so I cut mine and made mini rockets for little kids. So the first thing I want you guys to do is take your cardstock and I want you to cut 3 triangles. And I want them, it doesn't matter what size, you want them to make, not be awkward. I mean, you don't want them to be massive in proportion to the body of your rocket, which is your straw. But we're going to make 3 fins and they're going to be attached at the bottom. And once you guys have gotten your 3 fins cut out, just give me a thumbs up or say, hey, I'm ready to move on to the next step. So I don't want to lose anyone. All right, we good? So the next thing I want you guys to do is take some tape and we are going to actually, if I can find the end here, there it is. And we're going to attach our fins to our rocket. So you want to take your tape, and I made my triangles kind of right triangles so it makes an L shape. And you want to take some tape and attach it to like the big long part of the L. The longest side of your triangle is going to be pointing away from the body of your rocket. So all you got to do is take a piece of tape about the same length as your triangle, and you want to put half of it on and about half of it hanging off so you can attach it to your body of your rocket. So you're going to do the same thing with all 3 of your triangles. So I got all 3 with tape. Once you're good, we can, yeah, give me a thumbs up. All right. Okay, so now that we've gotten tape on our fins, we're going to attach it to the body of our rocket. So you guys have normal size straws. Mine's actually cut in half, so it's a little bit smaller, but it also helps fit on my Zoom screen. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our tape and we're going to attach it to the body of our rocket. And all we're going to do is stick it on there and then just wrap that extra hanging off piece, because you know we did half on, half off of our cardstock fins, and then we're just going to wrap them around so it looks like a flag, but this is actually going to be the bottom of our rocket. And you're going to do all of the same, all your fins the same way, same direction, same side of your straw. Yeah, good job, Kate. And then once you've gotten those on, we want to make sure that they stay on. So I always tell my kids whenever I'm doing them in my programming to make sure there's tape on both sides of your cardstock, because these will fly pretty far and you don't want them to come off. So just to be safe, we're going to double tape our fins. So like this side of my fin doesn't have tape, but it has tape on this side. So we're going to double tape both sides, or tape both sides. There we go. And if you have tape like hanging off, like here, I have a little tail, you can just cut that off or wrap it on underneath the bottom. It really doesn't matter. So do we have all of our fins on now? Yep. Kate's good. All right. Okay. So our next step, we are going to make a tip or the top of our rocket. And I had kids make a circle about the size of like a quarter, and we're going to cut them in half. We're actually going to just like not cut them in half, make a slit so it looks like a Pac-Man. So get you a circle the size of about a quarter, and then you're going to make a slit in it so it has like a little baby shark mouth. That's what I say. And then all the kids are starting to sing baby. Yep. Good job, Kate. I have kids sing that song and then it gets stuck in my head. So I'm like, oh, why do I say that? Torture myself. But yeah. So once you've gotten your circle, give me a thumbs up. Okay, Kate's ready. Lucy's ready. All right, so once we've gotten our circle and we cut a little Pac-Man mouth in it, like you don't cut all the way through, you just want to like make a little snip to the middle. We're actually going to turn this circle into a cone so it can actually fit on the top of our rocket. And it is okay. I had adults that couldn't figure it out on the first try. So if you get frustrated, I promise it's not a big deal. But all you're gonna do is take the top of, like, yeah, Kate, you want to make it really small though. You want to make sure it fits like on pretty snug to your straw. Yeah, you want it smaller than that, Kate. So all you gotta do is take your top and your bottom and you're just gonna overlap them. And I use my like pinky to measure, and you can just kind of turn it and twist it around itself. Sorry, it's kind of hard to do when my camera's up high. But you kind of just twist it and twist it and twist it. And if it's not perfect, it's okay because we're gonna tape it on there to make sure it stays. But I've gotten my cone and it fits pretty snug on my straw. And then I had a piece of tape ready, so I didn't have to take my whole roll and rip a piece off. But all you're gonna do is sit that on top of your rocket. Ooh. And then you're just gonna tape it up like that. And if it's crooked, it's okay. I had kids that had like way wonky donkey rocket tops and they flew just fine. So, and once you get it taped on there, you can kind of adjust it to make sure it's straight and not like tipping way over. So I'm going to take another piece of tape and secure it so it doesn't fall off. So technically this would be the part where the little astronauts, according to our video, this is where the astronauts would live and hang out while they are flying to the moon. But in this case, we don't want it to fall off. So we're going to make sure we secure it really well. And then actually, talking about physics, the tip of our rocket gives it some weight. So it has some momentum when it's flying through the air. And we'll talk about that in a second. So give me a thumbs up once you've gotten your rocket tip on. Kate's good. All right, are we ready to move on? Oh, Caden's ready. Kate's ready. Lucy, you're ready, right? Awesome. Okay. If you're not, and if I need to slow down and you're confused or lost, holler at me, put it in the chat. So the next step you're gonna do, we're gonna attach, and this is the most important part of our rocket because this is the part that helps it fly. So everybody was asked to get a copper brass fastener. These are kind of old-fashioned. Nobody really knows what these are used for these days. Or you can use it. You can use a small paper clip. How many of you have one of these? All of you got one of these? Kate does. Kaden does. If you have a paper clip, it's the same type of way that we're going to attach it. So we're going to take our brass fastener, and it has the little legs, you know, and then there's like the little top that makes it look like a nail. We're actually going to tilt this round part down just a little bit. See, I tilted it, so it's kind of got a little curve to it. Looks like an R. And then the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to attach it to the body of our rocket, and we're going to attach, like, here's the tip of our rocket. So we're going to attach it right below the tip. Okay. Not in like the middle. And especially y'all's are a little bit longer than mine. So it would look really awkward in the middle of your rocket. So you want to just do right below the tip of your rocket. And you're going to take a piece of tape and just secure the legs of that brass fastener to the body of your rocket. And you want it to go parallel with your rocket. Look at me using big words today. And you want to make sure you secure it pretty well, because this is going to be the hook that helps your rocket fly. Oops. So once you've gotten it on there, you want to kind of give it a little tug to see if it will come off. And then if it does, I suggest kind of opening the little prongs a little bit and sliding a piece of tape in between it and then shutting it and then wrapping it around. That way it's secured really, really well.
Can you hold yours up by the camera again?
I sure can.
Okay, so the part that's hanging down is the head of the.
Correct. That's the little, that's the round part of the brass fastener.
And the legs are taped to
the body. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So once you've gotten your brass fastener attached to your rocket, give me a thumbs up and then we can launch these super cool rockets. All right, so if we're ready to launch, I'm going to show you how. And I know I have my computer screen on here, so you might not get to see how far mine goes, but you've made your own so you can see how it flies. So we have our brass fastener, and you want that to be on the bottom of your rocket. So whenever you launch it, you want to hold it on the bottom. Okay. And then you have your rocket launcher or your slingshot, and you're going to just hook it onto your brass fastener like that. And you're just going to pull it back and let it go. Okay. And sometimes, depending on your rubber band, it might get caught a little bit on your brass fastener, and it might get caught and snug too hard. And so you just have to adjust it a little bit more. It might get pinched in there. So depending on how far you've tilted the brass round part down, it can get stuck. And so all you have to do is adjust that a little bit. So I got mine, and I suggest whenever I have kids making these, holding the popsicle stick in your left hand and holding your rocket like you're holding either a dart or pulling it back like you're pulling back a bow. And it's the same thing. You just hook it on there, pull it back. Here, I'm going to shoot it this way, see if you can see it. See, goes pretty far. Has anyone launched it yet? So did it work? Everybody's got a successful launch? A little bit. Kate's like, a little bit.
I shot mine backwards.
Oh. Well, it needs to go forward. You got your reverse good. Okay, so we got a few minutes before we hop off here because it's 45 minutes almost. And so I'm going to go into the science part of this lesson today. And we're actually, not only are we learning about rockets and building something using engineering, pre-engineering, we are actually learning about drag. And that whenever your rocket flies through the air, the fins right here, cause a little bit of drag. And so it's slowly, while it's flying through the air, it's slowly slowing down. And that's because the wind is getting caught in our fins. So that's drag. And then potential energy is the energy that is stored in the object due to its position. So whenever we are hooking our slingshot to our rocket launcher, it's actually, whenever we're pulling it back, we are collecting energy up. We are storing energy up. So that is the potential energy. And then whenever we are letting our rocket go, and it's flying through the air, that is the kinetic energy. that is whenever we are releasing all the stored up energy through the rubber band and through our rocket. And when it's flying through the air, that is kinetic energy. And then the momentum is the quantity of motion or a moving body measured as a product of its mass and velocity. So momentum is mass times velocity. That's the formula for it. And the momentum is whenever it's going through the air. It's the movement or the motion. That's the momentum, and it's helped by having the weight of the tip of our rocket on there. And then the stability is measured how likely it is for any object to topple over when it's pushed or moved. So we have a pretty good stable rocket because we're not pushing or we're pulling and then pushing, and nothing is moving it while it's in the air unless you're flying it through a windstorm or something. That is something that could cause lack of stability. So I am going to stop sharing. Did everyone have a successful launch? Yes. Awesome. So this little project, if we have any older 4-Hers in here, this is a great project that you guys can teach younger ones, especially in your groups. You can host a little STEM day or rocket day. And this is stuff that you find literally around your house or around the 4-H office. And you can create these to teach younger 4-Hers about STEM and about a little bit of physics and about rockets. And they're super fun, super cool. And I've had kids from, little pre-Kers. I've taught them how to make them. So if you guys are up for the challenge, I challenge you guys to teach somebody how to make a slingshot rocket. Deal? Sweet. Okay. Kate nodded her head. Yes. And good luck. You can make a ton of these and teach other people how to do it. So, Caitlin, it's 10:45. Are we supposed to leave our breakout rooms?
Yep, you can go back into the main session now.
Okay.